Hello guys, we're gonna talk how to do PI4, Planetary Industry Level 4 or Tier 4 from scratch. I'm gonna explain to you like all the basics. I have actually made a couple of videos in the past about it, but this is gonna be like a little bit of like a rewind of what I'm actually gonna explain to you in this video. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. So this is going to be like a tutorial about doing this from scratch with just one character that has Omega, but we're going to use the 3 characters that we can. And the first thing that you'll need to do is just to create those other 2 characters. So if I just log on safely, it will take me a little bit second, but it's just for the purpose of the video I'm going to show you. So you need, in order to do that, we're gonna to create like a. I mean, you can definitely create tier 4. It's just like you're not gonna extract. You're probably gonna import if you're only doing like on one character. We're gonna use the 3 characters that we have on the same Omega account, and I'm gonna explain to you a little bit what you need to do. So all these 3 characters have Planetary Industry. So I'm just gonna log in one of it. They're all in the same place and explain to you what you need to do. So in order to create the Planetary Industry Tier 4, it takes quite a bit of time. First, you'll just need to complete all this Planetary Management, and you need to have them maxed. I really recommend to have them maxed because we're gonna use the whole spectrum of skills, including having the right density, command center upgrades, and definitely having more planets. So all those upgrades that we're having here, they're really important. I mean, they're the only planetary industry that they are. So that's one thing that you need to do. The next thing that you'll need to do is to go at remap at the attributes, at the character and then attributes, and just do a remap and have maxed out the intelligence and have a secondary memory. Those are just the skills required to for the planetary industry to be skilled faster. And that's what you need to do with all the characters. Now, the third thing that you need to do, you can actually just buy some cheap implants, one for memory and one for I forgot what is the second, intelligence. Yes. So you have that, so you just skill a little faster. And yes, the third thing that you need to do is just you'll need to go to the Eden store. You'll need to have services. It's the multiple training pilot, and you'll need 3 of those. And yeah, you'll need to have 3 or 4 so you can skill in, unless you have like Planetary Industry on your main already. Then you only need 2, but you need those like multiple training pilots, and you'll need 3 of them. And you'll probably need like more, because you'll need like a couple of like 3 months. So you'll probably need like in total 9 of them, because you'll need 3 months to skill towards all the skills with the remap and with the implants that you're going to use to accelerate your skill progression towards those planetary industries. So now once you do that, you'll have to just select an item for the tier 4 that you really want to do. What I'm doing, it's called integrated responsive drones. So for integrated responsive drones, I need 6 gel matrix, 6 planetary vehicles, and 6 Hamzat detectors, and I need this to have being produced every hour. So one tier 3 facility produces 3, so I'll need to have double production for each of those tier 3s. So I'll need in total because you need like for each tier 3 you'll need 3 planets. I need in total 18 planets to produce this tier 4, and that'll be 6 planets per each character. And that's how we're gonna produce the integrated response drones. That's the second step, to produce the tier 4s. Let me just, do I have deactivated the music or something? Give me a second. I have to take a look. I think I do. Alright, let me just turn the music a little bit higher. I think. Well, there might be no music right now. Anyway, yes, so we'll need to do this. Some tier 4s are maybe a little easier to produce. This is one of the harder one. So I'm just gonna show you the hardest one to how to do it. We'll need those 18 planets. And the basis of it is that if you know how to produce at an output that you can sustain for production of every hour for the tier 2s, you're going to use that principle for each planet to transition into those tier 3s, and the tier 3s we're going to use in the tier 4. So I'm just going to explain how my configuration is on this planet. But also the first thing you will probably need to do before is just to find the right planet. And I mean, the way to do it is, I mean, you go to the dot LAN. I already probably explained this once. And you just type, let me see where it is. Anyway, so you just wormholes, yes, and you're gonna look for like wormholes that have the right configuration of the planets that you're looking for. So this is, the number of planets that each one of the, regions. You can definitely find like a wormhole that has the right configuration of the planets that you need. So I'm like in one of those, like, I'm like, for example, in a C1, and it has like a little bit of everything. It has like a lava, it has barren, it has temperature, plasma, storm, gas, and ice. So I can just basically do a little bit of everything. And once you find like a C1, the one that you're liking it, is then to install yourself, or just like have be in that. And you can find that there's like specialized groups that in game that can find your wormhole that has the right planets, and you can just be there. And if you can take over and just like reduce the taxes to 0 by just destroying the planets or the custom offices that are in there, so you just like pay less taxes. That's also like a thing that you can do. And you can customize then so you don't pay less taxes. This is important because you just gotta pay for each transaction that tax. So if it's like a pretty big tax, then it's probably not worth it to actually do Planetary Industry. So once you do that, it's gonna be like a long process before, if you really want to take over like a C1, but usually just like they're like abandoned, and you can just like take over, destroy all those custom offices, and you need like the custom offices, and you will need to have like 8 from each of those broadcasts, recurses, self-harmonizing core with fair mainframe. So you just like put it online, and once you do that, you can just like personalize it. Also, you'll probably need to be a director or like a CEO of your corporation, because this is like a structure, and you cannot launch structure by yourself. You have to be part of the corporation or alliance. And yeah, once you do that, you're good to go. You have zero tax, and then you just like, hey, you're gonna install those planets. I'm just gonna show you how I did like one of those planets that I'm having. So basically it's, once you have like those skills max, you can definitely just choose the density. As you can see, I have here the extraction set up for those places where you know, when I go to scanning, and you know, I put those the you know, central command anywhere in the map, but the extractors, I'll have to build them like where they have like in common for the things that I'm just gonna extract. For the example, if I'm just I'm right here, so I'm building towards biofuels, which is built towards the biocells, right? So I need biocells. Biocells is built from carbon and noble metals. So I'm looking at when I'm scanning, where I'm putting the extractor is like where can is like a place where I can just like get the noble gas and get the carbon nearby without, you know, risking anything. So just like have those things to extract from two different extractors that can be close nearby. So I can just combine them and build those into the tier 2s. So I'm just extracting here, for example, the carbon, and I'm extracting on the other one the noble. Those things, you know, you need at least 12,000 units of these tier 2 tier 0s, because we're gonna look forward to, you know, build those into those biocells, and we're gonna have 2 of them. So those tier 0s are just gonna be deposited in like a storage. It's important to have like a storage, because if you don't, they're gonna get clocked, you know. So you just like have, it's good to have like different types of storages. And those tier 0 just are going to be processed into biofuels. So see, those tier 1s are building into those biocells, and this one are building into the precious metals. And then each of those tier 1s are connected to those tier 2s, which, you know, sustain the production of the tier 2s. And I'm making 10 biocells per hour, which is the amount required to build towards the tier 3. And what is that tier 3? Let me see. It's the gel matrix. As you can see, I need 10 biocells. So I'm gonna make like, it's the necessary amount for one part of the biocells. And I also have here like a structure that builds towards those tier 3s. So I have those tier 2s connected to the tier 3 that has here a storage, and this tier 3 already has all those mats connected from, you know, biocells. Now the other 2 that I'm having are built into the other planets. So the other planets are just I'm just taking all those stuff from, you know, what I'm having here, and just moving, you know, moving the tier 2s that I'm having in here, or like in the right planets, into this planet. I'm going to that custom offices, and I'm just putting them, you know, they're connected to those storages, the other storages. Now, each of those storages is the other tier 2 materials required for the tier 3. And the tier 3, once it's done, it's exported in like another storage. And from the storage, I can just like have them be backed into the launch pad. So that's basically how I do the tier 3s. And the same process goes for the tier 4s. Now for the tier 4s is like a small thing. You cannot have the tier 4s on any planet, and you'll have to have them into a baron or a temperature. So I'll just like log on safely a little bit and show you how it's done. So the same planets are doing the same thing, or, you know, the other planets. This is, you know, basically all the things required for the drones, integrated drones. Those mats are being extracted and processed into the tier 2s. Tier 2s are moving into the tier 3 facilities, and the tier 3s I'm taking into what I'm gonna show you right now. Alright, so I'm just gonna log in into the tier 4 facility. Just give me a second. Alright, so in this tier 4, it's a little bit special because, you know, I had to do a little bit of adjustments. Like all planets are ideal, but basically it's, you know, I'm doing the extractions that I need, and I have some tier 3 facilities. Also note that a trick that you need that is if you get the right amount of density, you can only need from the extractors 3 nodes to be able to extract 12,000 units. So you can see I have here only 3 nodes, but if you don't have the right density, you might need to have like 4 nodes, which can just hinder your ability to have those tier 3 facilities. So you need to have sometimes the right density. Now you don't have to do all the planets have to be good density, but it has to be one of those 3, so you can just build those tier 3 facilities with the storages, so you can process the tier 2 into the tier 3s, which is important. So it's important to find a good density so you can build those extra facilities, because you're really on the edge on the power grid when you're building this. Like I'm having like quite a bit of like structures here, you know, I'm extracting tier 2s and being processed in the tier 3s. So with that in mind, I'm going to show you now the tier 4. Well, the tier 4, it's a little bit of a mess, not because I need to have that, because of the 2 reasons. Because I needed to have 4 ice planets, and this system has only 1 ice, so I can just have like only 3 planets for each character like on ice. And what I needed to do is I needed to just double up the production. So what I did here is that I amped up the production here. So I just have instead of 12,000 units, I have 14,000 units, 24,000 units, sorry, and those 24 are for each extraction. So, and because of that extra amount of extraction, I don't have that much power grid to do any more facilities in here, except I did here some bacteria, which I could process, or you know, I can process the what it's called, the microorganism into bacteria, and that bacteria I can just have it be directly exported. But for the other tier 0, which is the plankton colonies, I'll need to have them build from the scratch. I can export them, that's one thing that I can do, but I need to have those tier 0s being processed. So I'm having them here into the tier 4 facility, which has the process from the tier 0, which is a little bit satisfying too, because I bring here the tier 0, which on those 4 facilities are being processed into tier 1s. And those tier 1s, I know it's just a mess here, guys, I know. I don't even know myself where I have all those things, but yes. Yes. So this tier 4s export the, you know, I bring the tier 0s, which those 4 facility produces the tier 0 into tier 1s, which it's been deposited there. Those tier 1s are being used, well, also with the tier 0, because I need to bring the tier 0 and the tier 1. So all the tier 1 is right here, tier 0 is right here, or the tier 0 is here and the tier 1 is here, and those tier 1's goods are processed into the tier 2's. The tier 2's are connected to the tier 3's, and the tier 3's are connected to the tier 4's, which is right here. So in this planet, I'm bringing here everything. Also have here an extra for the tier 2's being produced. So I have here, because I have tier 2 produced for one part, which is 12,000 units, and I have another one for the other 12,000 units, which will be processed into other tanks. And I have one entry and one exit, so I have double custom offices. And yeah, that's basically how it is. Now all those things that I'm having is that I need to just move those things from some characters. For example, I need to move some things from one character to the another. Well, I basically just like it's you know, you'll need to create like a safe spot for each and one of them, and the way to do that is that you'll probably just need to create an access list first. And let me see, yeah, there you go. So just like create an access list where, you know, you name it, and then you just drag the characters in here. And once you create an access list, you'll just need to create a location, and you just like create a folder, create a location, and you just like have a save spot. And you can just like in here, I can, for example, just eject. As you can see, this holler is in space. So I'm just, you know, if I have all the characters in the same say space, I can just like switch between them and move the stuff that I'm having into those hollers and use those input. So that's basically how I'm doing the tier 4s. It's really probably not easy, but hopefully explains a little bit how I'm doing the tier 4s. Yeah, I really recommend to have to find a where you just don't pay a lot of taxes, or if there are, it's not more than 5%. But yeah, that's about the video how to make tier 4 Planetary Industry in EVE Online from scratch. Now, if you really want to do it from scratch, it will take you definitely like maybe even 4 months. But yeah, it's definitely helpful. And it will you'll pay your Omega account, I think 66% or 2/3 of your Omega account, which is quite a bit. And you'll need to just like take the extractions of the tier 4s. I mean, you need to do just, I have it all set up. One thing I forgot to mention, or the extraction, I have them all set up on having to do on 4 days. So because it's like really you know, I can just like log in every 4 days and I just like reset the timers and just like, you know, reset extraction, and every 8 days I'll have to just move things around. Yeah, but that's basically it. Thanks for watching. Hope this video helps. Subscribe. I know haven't been posting. I've been playing quite a bit of other games, but I figured out this is an important one to show about Planetary Industry in EVE Online, guys. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.